made. Now, when you ran as leader, you said you would end outsourcing in the NHS. That's out. You said that you would abolish the welfare payment, universal credit. That's out. And one of our viewers, Edmund, wants to know, he says, if Keir Starmer has broken all of his pledges to the Labour Party, how can the country expect to trust a word he says? Well, how can people trust you when you have, explicitly junked promises you made?
Well, when I was running for leader, I made pledges which reflected my values. Since then, we're now, 3 years on? A lot has changed. As you said at the head of the programme, we've been through COVID. We are still going through an awful conflict in Ukraine, and the Tory government has done huge damage to our economy.
What's that got to do with you ditching a promise to end outsourcing in the NHS?
Well, so far as the NHS is concerned, what we've said in the last week or two is we would make more use of the private sector to clear waiting lists. Some use is being used, is made already. We would make more use of that because we have to clear the waiting lists. And we're in the worst crisis we've ever seen for the NHS.
But do you want people to trust you, though? Because this is about you making commitments and then changing your mind. Is it important for people to be able to trust what you say?
I think, Laura, people will look at a leader of the opposition and say, is that someone who's prepared to take the tough decisions according to the facts as they now are?
This wasn't my question. My question is, do you think it's important for people to be able to trust you?
Of course it is. Of course
so let's take another one of those promises then. You promised that you would scrap tuition fees. Now, does that promise stand?
Well, look, I think the tuition fee system needs to be changed. I don't think it's working. I don't think anybody would say it's working. But looking at the damage that's been done to the economy, Rachel Reeves and I have had to be very clear that we will only make commitments that we can afford at the next general election. So we need to look at that promise again. But I think, Laura, in terms of trust, I'm not sure you're right to assume that the public will say that they prefer someone who sort of dogmatically insists that whatever was the position before can never change, even when the circumstances have changed. The damage done to our economy is huge. We're going to inherit a weakened, damaged economy. Now, we have to be prepared for that. And that's why I've called for a decade of national renewal. We will not be able to do everything we need to do in the first 5 years of a Labour government.